Yo, what's that word? 37 in the podcast, episode 86. How you doing today, my boy?
Good, chilling.
So tonight we're gonna start off with our usual Reddit warm up. I already looked through it. I thought this was an interesting one. So I'm gonna ask you, my boy, what's we both grown men, but what's a time where you cried where you consider it for something like minor?
Sheesh. Cause I don't I'm not even trying to sound hard. I don't really cry like that. Like last time I cried, it's like something that involves my kids type stuff. But the last time I probably cried for something minor was probably back like in high school, about to fight somebody, just so heated that I started crying. No, it's embarrassing because it's been roasting your ass, thinking you crying because you scared or something. Like, no, I'm crying because I'm about to black out and beat the shit out your ass. But that would be probably minor. I don't really, like I said, I don't really cry for certain things. Like, it'd have to be something that involves my kids, like a family member, for me to actually cry.
Yeah, I didn't. If y'all hear my son, that's just my son being himself. But let us know, some petty y'all or minor, I should say, y'all cried over, in the comments. I know y'all will. I've been seeing the things y'all been saying, but last minor thing I cried over, I agree with bro. It was, it's, crazy situations that go on with family and loved ones and friends. But the last time was in middle school, boy. I got my heart broken. Hey, I ain't gonna say homegirl name now because I believe she super spoken for, but anybody that know me know what I'm talking about. Homegirl said she was about to dip, say she was about to move. I couldn't take it, boy. It was over with. I remember my mom, because, my mom a gangster. So she walked in the room. She like, man, I know you ain't crying over that. And I'm like, nah. I was capping. I said, nah, but, that's what the reason was, whatever. But, it is what it is. Looking back on it, I ain't even peeped the move. I wasn't even keeping it peep because it seemed like she was just, as a grown man, I know now, she was really just trying to dip because she didn't move. So when she found out, after a while she didn't move, I was just like, oh, so we straight. But it was weird. So I was like, oh, she really was trying to throw a curveball to get me up out of there. But I know that now as an adult, you feel me? But that's why I say it's some minor and something happened in the past.
I remember a bit broke up me through a note in middle school. It had me in the bathroom and looking at myself cry. That bit read the note like 4 times, bro.
I feel you on that. Shit. I was sitting in my room. It was dark. I was trying to keep it quiet. My mom bust through the door. That shit was crazy. That was a good Reddit warm up again. Y'all tell us, anytime y'all had crying for, some minor, y'all considered minor and things of that nature. Moving on, getting to the pod, episode 86. Could be 87, but episode 86. Let's talk about the Super Bowl first. Of course, you got the Kansas City Chiefs versus Philadelphia Eagles in the city of NOLA, city of New Orleans. A few things that we could break it down by, and I wanted to keep it spontaneous with this tonight. So first, for the Chiefs to win, who do you think has to be the X factor for them?
Really, Chris Jones. And just, Carl Loftus coming off the edge, because big part in winning the Super Bowl is going to be stopping Saquon Barkley. I feel like they kind of have to sell out for the run and make Jalen Hurts kind of beat them with the pass game. Like I said, it's a hard thing to do. The Eagles have probably the best O-line in the league, and I haven't really seen anybody be able to, get constant pressure, clog up any holes or anything like that. But if there's anybody that can do it, it's the Chiefs defensive coordinator. Like you said, he's probably the best coordinator in the league on both sides of the ball. So I expect a pretty good game plan from him. You also have the DB power to kind of play man and kind of sell out to blitz, try to hit some gaps and everything. So that's my big thing.
For the Chiefs to win, I think the biggest X factor going to have to be that offensive line. You're going against an athletic, highly drafted defense. They got players, obviously Josh Sweat. I'm forgetting my boy name as the other defensive end came over from the Jets. I'm forgetting his name. Forgive me. It's gonna come to me, but you got him coming off the edge. In the interior of that defensive line, you got monsters. Hopefully Jalen Carter gets to play because I saw a report that there's a flu or some type of illness going around in the locker room. Hopefully, he get a chance to play. And Jordan Davis, I believe his name is other defensive tackle there. So the Chiefs' offensive line is going to have to hold up like Patrick Mahomes. And obviously, if you want the Chiefs to win, then you don't want it to be like how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did them a few years ago, because that's how these teams stack up, in my opinion. I think the Chiefs are a bit better on the O-line this year, much more healthier. But Philly is ferocious, man. And like I said, they're my Super Bowl pick. And speaking of that, let's flip it to the other side. For the Chiefs, for the Eagles to have victory, who do you think has to be the X factor for them?
It comes down to it. I think he won Offensive Player of the Year. Comes down to Saquon Barkley. If the Eagles to put points on the board, they need to get Saquon going. That's been every game. Their offense goes as Saquon goes. In my opinion, you see that's why they were winning games when AJ Brown and Devontae Smith weren't really factors. They literally the best offensive weapon known to date. Honestly, Saquon Barkley ranks up there as top offensive players in history, honestly, in my opinion, after this year. And then just, kind of Mahomes is going to do some Mahomes things, but kind of trying to limit that and getting to him, kind of pressuring him. So more than likely, the D line.
I feel that 100%. For the Eagles have to win, the X factor for me, I think the most obvious answer is Saquon Barkley for sure. But I think it's going to have to be Jalen Hurts. I think he's going to have to show up in this game. Like you said, I think they're going to sell out and try to do everything they can to limit Saquon and A.J. Brown as well. I think Jalen, the connection he has with Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith on that other side is going to have to be crucial in this game. He's going to have to find secondary option that Steve Spagnuolo is going to make it a point to take away, obviously, the most explosive elements of that Eagles passing game. And they've had more than the normal amount of weeks to prepare for this game. I think that adds another extra layer. Obviously, I think we're going to see something like the Philly special in this game, some type of trick play like we saw a couple of years ago against the Patriots. When you have that extra time to prepare, and I do think Nick Sirianni is a creative, good coach. So I'm excited about seeing that in this game. So let me ask you this. I haven't looked at the lineup per se. But let me ask you this. What are you looking forward to about the halftime show for this Super Bowl? Kendrick Lamar is the performer, by the way.
They not like us.
That's
they
not
like us. I don't know. Halftime Super Bowl shows, it really just depends. Like the one was it last year? Or the one 2 years ago, I think it was, with Rihanna. That was cool and all. She was pregnant, so she couldn't really do much. I don't remember.
I think last year might have been Rihanna. A year before that, I think it was like West Coast, like 50.
Well, I know that one's probably like one of the best Super Bowl halftime performances with like Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent and all that. That was like ranks up there as one of the best for me. But Kendrick Lamar is like the hottest, most talked about rapper right now, so I can see why. But probably just the creativity that he brings, because he's a very creative person. So I want to see, like, I'm excited to see the aspects he brings into his performance. How he has everybody set up, how just all the structure and everything.
Yeah, I want to see that too. I think a lot they got to do with that is he mentioned he gonna bring storytelling to this. So of course, I don't want to personally see him focus on like the beef and stuff like that, which I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to be the great artist that we've seen. I've seen clips of great, like, iconic performances he had when he was dressed up like the most high potentially and stuff like that. So he has a massive amount of creativity. I want to see who he brings out. If he performs songs from GNX, he's going to bring out some of the local guys from California and stuff like that. I think that'd be dope if Snoop Dogg is a part of this somehow, some way. If you bring out some West Coast people. And then, of course, I saw K. Dot racked up 5 Grammys this past weekend for everything he's done this year, which was well deserved. I want to see, and he was willing to walk up to the stage performing Not Like Us. So that let me know if he was willing to do it then at the Grammys, he's definitely willing to perform it on the Super Bowl stage. I think that's going to be another sour moment for a certain group of individuals, but it is what it is at the end of the day. But I think it's going to be dope. I look forward to his performance and things like that. And by the way, shout out Lil Wayne. Just announced is I think the Carter 6. It's either Carter 6 or Carter 7. I'm going to say the Carter 6 just got announced for 06/06/2025. So that's kind of related because, Lil Wayne had a lot of things to say about not being selected, but, you know,
Again.
but I think it's gonna be dope when his album drop. But I'm looking forward to the Super Bowl too. Is there anybody like I was gonna say? I haven't looked at the list, but there's any commercials you looking forward to?
So as commercials, I kind of just keep it as a surprise because some Super Bowl commercials are
Yeah,
more entertaining than others. I know, like back when I was a kid, I used to look forward to like the
facts.
Dorito commercials or like the
Yeah,
Cheeto commercials, stuff like that. Or as a little freaky ass the GoDaddy commercials with Danica Patrick and stuff. But
I was gonna say Doritos too. I think they always come with the heat. Plus, that's gonna be a huge thing. When it comes to like this weekend in the Super Bowl and things of that nature. I'm looking forward to Doritos too. Did you have any Super Bowl parties or go to them as a jit? Is that a thing people still do?
as a jit, I had like my baseball
Yeah,
friends when I used to play baseball. Like the head coach, they used to throw like a big Super Bowl party. It used to last from like morning all the way to
yeah,
after the Super Bowl, and that's like the best times because we out there playing
yeah.
basketball, wiffle ball, football. During halftime, we don't even care about the halftime show out there playing
Yeah, I remember my
stuff like that.
my sister's father. He was a chef, so he used to throw all the Super Bowl parties every year in the hood. We was having Super Bowl parties. Them just used to be super live. It was this lady. I don't even want to bring out her name. I would Siobhan. So we had like the platters of food, man. Siobhan was eating up all the food, man. He used to get so mad. He used to want to kick her from the parties. But shout out Siobhan, man. I hope you doing well and stuff like that. For sure, that's my mama friend and stuff like that. She was smashing all the food. This man had platters of food, wings, food, the chips, everything. He was a solid dude when it came to that. So definitely shout out to him. And if people still doing that, hopefully, we can get back to, as a as a culture, I should say, United States still doing big things like that. I know in other cultures, they probably, throw World Cup parties and things of that nature. So,
A lot harder to
yeah,
get back to that.
hopefully we can get back to doing stuff like that in a safe manner. You feel me? But might have lost for them. For sure. My final question about the Super Bowl. My final question about the Super Bowl would be an obvious question: who you got winning?
I feel like it's going to be a close, high scoring game. Sheesh. I've been thinking about this all week, and I change every day. But something just has me feeling like it's the Eagles season. Like everything just points to
The
the
who? The
Eagles winning.
Chiefs?
I don't think
Okay, you said the Eagles. All
the
right.
Eagles. Yeah, I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to hold Saquon, like
Mm.
stop him or anything. And like I said, if Saquon has a great game, I think the Eagles pull it out in a close one. And then the only thing that worries me is just the Chiefs' offense, or only what adds to it is the Chiefs' offense just really hasn't looked good all year. So, like you said, we might have another situation where it's the Buccaneers Chiefs Super Bowl all over again. But either way, I got the Eagles taking it.
I feel you on that. Like I've been saying for a couple weeks now, after the Detroit Lions got eliminated unceremoniously, the Eagles have been looking downright dominant. Destroyed the Washington Commanders. It was bad. It was bad. Anytime a team put up 50 some points on you, it's ugly. But especially when y'all the final two in y'all conference, it just highlights the difference in talent and coaching. Washington is young, so I think they'll be back. But the Eagles is just prime Right now, Saquon is a madman. Right now, he's playing like the best player in the league. I think it'll be a close game. I love defensive battles. I think it'd be a nice, tight defensive battles. We got superstars on both sides of the ball, whether that's Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones. Then you got, of course, Jalen Carter, Saquon, AJ Brown. I just think position by position, besides quarterback, I got the Eagles in nearly every position. And I'm big on that. I'm an analytical type guy. I love the draft and things of that nature. We have content on that coming down the pipe. But that's a long-winded way of saying I'm going to ride with the Eagles as well. Fly, Eagles, fly. Tell them to win the Super Bowl this year. I believe for the second time for the second time in at least the past 10 years. And it's their second appearance in the past 3 years. So right now I got the Eagles pulling it out. I'm going to ride with the Eagles. I have to see what the betting line on that. But it is what it is.
I think it's close. It's like not even a
Yeah,
field goal type
I
score.
imagine they would keep it like that. But let us know who y'all picking for the Super Bowl in the comments below. Y'all reasoning why. We'll chop it up about it for sure. Entering today was the day of the trade deadline. A lot of crazy things happened, man. So, first question I want to ask you about it: where were you, and what are your thoughts on the AD to Luka Doncic trade? Before you start, I'm gonna just say the trade real quick. So it was Anthony Davis. Give me 1 second. It was Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first round pick going to the Lakers for Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris. The Utah Jazz picked up Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 second-round picks. So, where were you, and how did you feel about the trade up until this point?
I was laying in bed. So once I seen the trade posted, I started going on Twitter. I started thinking that
Facts.
Shams got hacked. I was like looking crazy. Like this is the most I've ever looked for like a trade. This might be the one of like the biggest, most
Yeah.
unexpected trade in NBA history. Um, and then I gave it until the morning, and once I seen that nothing came out about it being false information, I started digging into it. It's a good trade for both teams, if you ask me. Like me and you talked about, the Lakers needed to choose whether or not what they wanted to do towards the future. Luka's only 25. They got their future superstar as long as they can lock him down with an extension. And they still have what some more moves they made. They are looking good to make a playoff run. I feel like if we're talking about what team got better for the short haul, I'm taking the Mavericks just because you're getting a prime Anthony Davis right now. You're getting Max Christie, who's been balling the
Definitely.
past 2 games for the Mavericks, on top of Kyrie Irving, PJ Washington's coming back, Daniel Gafford, and then you still have Derek Lively waiting to come back. So I think that puts the Mavericks in prime position to try to compete for another championship as well over the next couple years. And Anthony Davis got his wish of not playing center. So I believe we see a better Anthony Davis because the best versions of Anthony Davis, I think, is when you have guys like Jason Tatum or something trying to guard him on the offensive end. And then he can switch anywhere on the defensive end. I just think it opens up a lot more for the Mavericks offensively and gives them a lot of potential defensively. They're already dogs on both sides of the ball, so this trade really helps them out.
Yeah, I feel you. Where I had just got done watching, in my opinion, was been the best fight of the year so far. David Benavidez versus David Morrell. With Benavidez pulling out that win. I was still up. I was on Twitter, you know what I'm saying, reading tweets about that and stuff because I thought it was a little closer than what people were saying that it was, and the scorecard said it was. When I saw that, I saw an account that I trust for entertainment purposes, but not for like actual news purposes. Was the first to tweet about it, so I'm like, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh man, they didn't hack my boy. It's over with. But like you said, I went to digging, I went to researching because I'm like, there's no way this is real. There's no way this is real. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
And
no, yeah, yeah.
once I saw Shams tweet, I still said it ain't real. But then I saw him retweet that this is indeed real, and he provided more information on it. And I saw other respected journalists and stuff like that chiming in on it and saying it was real. And I'm like, wow, I knew I wasn't gonna get the adequate amount of sleep for work the next day once it settled in for me. And so it was probably around 1:30 a.m. And so, how I feel about the trade is, you know, answering it in terms of the short and long terms, I still feel like the Lakers won both short and long term. I don't think it was a good trade for both teams. Personally, I don't think there's any way you should give up a talent like Luka Doncic, being 25, first team All NBA 5 times, 5-time All Star, a dude that scored 73 points in a game last year, 73. The closest person since Kobe, well, to Kobe, since Kobe scored 81, and then, Wilt with the 100 and the things of that nature. And he's still not in his prime yet. Knows how to manipulate the game a la LeBron James. I just think when it comes to players, AD is an incredible talent. In my opinion, the best defensive player in the NBA. But when it comes to overall package as a player, I think there's a tier and maybe 2 tiers between him and Luka Doncic. Personally, like you said, like you mentioned, we've been talking about the Lakers had to choose a direction. I think they chose a direction for the present and the future because you're getting the best player out of the trade, and you didn't have to give up all of your assets to get him. They should have got everything that the Lakers had to make this trade happen. Anthony Davis, good player. But the Mavericks are currently, I believe, ninth in the West, fighting for a playoff spot. Of course, AD is going to help him. Christie is going to help him. He was good in his first game as a Dallas Maverick. But the Mavericks have been mediocre, I think is a good way of putting it, lately. And I worry about when playoff time comes, if they are fortunate enough to make the playoffs, where most of their offense is going to come at. Clay is washed. He's still good on some nights, but he's washed. Kyrie is Kyrie. But other than Kyrie, playmaking and things like that, I'm not sure where the majority of their offense is going to come from. Of course, AD is going to get his buckets too, but they're going to have to integrate him, become more of a paint-based team without as many snipers. They also traded away Quinn Grimes for Caleb Martin, which was another strange trade because Quinn Grimes have been playing better than Caleb Martin this year. So for the short term, I think that the Lakers got the better player, so I think they won. And then the Lakers have been playing exceptionally well lately here. But then also for the long term, Luka is 7 years younger. He's already better today, so presumably he's going to be better going forward. He has some injury risk, but AD has way more of injury risk. And you didn't have to give up all of your assets to get it done. You actually kept, at that moment, Dalton Connect in a 2031 first round pick. You still had Austin Reeves. And I think it's going to be terrorizing for secondary defenders that have to guard a player like LeBron James, who we know come playoff time is going to play like a top 5 player in the NBA. As he's been playing for the last month, he's been getting back to that form of being up there amongst the best players in the league. Austin Reeves as a third option, as a second option, he's been playing well as well. So for right now, I'm going to say the Lakers won the trade. It's a trade that I don't understand why they would do that. Hopefully it's not the business of basketball like I've been hearing about, but I don't think it's a trade that the Mavericks should have done. But we'll see how it plays out. If they end up winning the championship, it'll be worth it. Same way we were saying about the Lakers in New Orleans when they got AD. If they win a championship, it's all worth it, and it was worth it. So we'll have to see for sure. So that was the biggest trade right there. That was the biggest trade. How you feel about Jimmy going to the Warriors? It was Jimmy. I don't got the full trade details here, but it was Jimmy and a whole bunch of other moving parts. Let's just say Jimmy and Andrew Wiggins got moved to the Heat along with Dennis Schroeder, but he bounced all over the place. I think he's in with Detroit right now. Let's just say Jimmy going to the Warriors and what you felt like the Heat got for him. How you feel about that trade?
I feel like it was more of just they were trying to get rid of Jimmy. Trade deadline was approaching. Andrew Wiggins has been playing good. And once Jimmy gave him the okay or whatever, letting them Warriors know that he would sign some type of extension with them, I think it kind of fell into place a lot easier. It's hard to say right now. I mean, obviously from a player name standpoint, the Warriors won the trade, but Andrew Wiggins isn't a bum. He's a good defender. He can score the rock. He can rebound. He can play make. Jimmy Butler, we all know what we get with him. But what drama is he going to bring? after 1 or 2 years, after the honeymoon phase is over with, what drama is he going to bring? The Heat have been kind of making moves. I think they made a few more moves today, but the biggest one obviously being Andrew Wiggins. I feel like he's going to come right in and fit into the Heat culture. He's somebody that can take criticism. I mean, he's somebody that's went through adversity. I know you probably remember that long break he took
Yeah.
from like the NBA. And there was stuff circulating around like he found out his girlfriend cheated on him and his kids wasn't
Whoa.
his, something along them lines. That yeah, there was
Yeah.
some rumors, but I feel like it was. I'm not gonna say it was an even trade, but I feel like it was a trade that could
Yeah, I
benefit both
feel why
teams.
you could. I feel you when you say that, just because it's more of like an addition by subtraction scenario could be possible here. Honestly, man, I think Andrew has a couple years left on his deal this year and the next year. He has money left on his deal, and it was a big contract, close to the max, if not the max. I don't understand what the Heat are doing at this point. Honestly, it seems like there's this long treadmill of mediocrity here. I don't get it. At this point, you might as well just try to rebuild in an authentic rebuild at this point. But it is what it is. For the Warriors' sake, get them to get them in this deal. They had to get him a 2-year, $121 million extension that lines him up with Steph and Draymond. I think Draymond actually has a year beyond that. You also gave up Kyle Anderson in this deal, who I think was a nice, versatile defensive piece in this deal. Andrew Wiggins, a locker room favorite. Dennis Schroeder had just got there, but he's a nice guard to have.
That man, who he play
Pistons,
for right now? That man got traded 4 times
yeah,
in 24 hours. That's
yeah,
like that's the record. They was talking about that man earlier in the season, and even now they're talking about like he completed the
yeah.
uniform rainbow. That man almost completed the uniform rainbow in
What that boy
24
stacking
hours.
jerseys at the crib,
Again,
but I think Jimmy, he doesn't do a lot of what the Warriors prioritize, which is cutting and spacing and things of that nature. The kids say a merchant. He's a free throw merchant. He lives in the mid range, so I think that's going to help him. He can create his own shot as well as play make, and we know he's a dog on the defensive end. He coming in there with another, excuse my language, but crazy motherfucker with Draymond Green. That'll be the greatest undisputed video game match right there if they ever get in a boxing match. Because I don't think he's going to knock out Jimmy like he knocked out Poole or anything like that. But we got Chef Curry and Big Face Coffee, and we'll have to see what they do. I think it'll be a nice. First of all, the West is stacked, but I want to see how these playoffs play out because I don't think a lot of teams is really concerned with the teams at the top right now, like OKC, the Rockets. I'm forgetting what I think the third team might be the Clippers. I could be wrong. Y'all let me know in the comments.
I
Memphis.
think after like the 1-2, it falls
Yeah.
off a little
But
bit.
even them teams young, you know what I'm saying? So it's like come playoff time, we got to see how you operate. You know what I mean? Like I'm excited to see what the Lakers, the Warriors, veteran teams like that do. Speaking of another team that just came to mind, there's two things I want to talk about before I get there. Keeping up with the Warriors. It could have been KD was going back to the Warriors, but he rebuffed them boys. So what do you think his reasoning was? Obviously, we don't know the exact reason, but what do you think his reasoning was, and how do you feel about him turning down that opportunity to return to a place he won 2 championships?
I think that boy thought that they was
Yeah.
going to get Jimmy. I think that's probably the main thing. But I'm not one to say that KD holds grudges and stuff like that. But we know him and Draymond fell out. And you could just tell, kind of by Kevin Durant's personality that he's not like, he don't really like messing with that. He don't really like doubling back when it comes to certain stuff like that. So I think that played a big part in it. Uh, but also probably just looking at how the Warriors roster stacked out compared to the Suns roster. I think that probably could have played a big part. Because, for the longest, they were talking Bradley Beal, Bradley Beal, Bradley Beal, and all of a sudden Kevin Durant came in the talks. And he's playing good basketball for the Suns. I just feel like it's probably to him another situation where he was going to have to go in and try to do the exact same thing that he's doing now with less talent surrounding him. If that makes sense.
I think personally there was a call made um, because I think if we would have ever seen KD, Steph Curry, and LeBron James it would have started off with KD going back to the Warriors and then LeBron going there in the summertime after he has more of an idea of how the Lakers look, how their future look, and how they're going to build out the team. I think he could have potentially joined the Warriors if KD and Steph was already there. It had everything to do with Draymond Green. I think KD is cordial, but I don't think he fucked with Draymond Green for real. You know, it's hard to come back from a man calling you a bitch publicly and have everybody talking about it for a while. And for him to for him to say like, we ain't need you here. We was winning before you and they won after you. It's like, people are going to say if he were to go back, damn, that's the only way we can win a ship. You ain't winning nowhere else. You with the Warriors and you win the ship. So they was gonna give Steph the credit as they give Steph the credit for the other two rings too. Like, I hate to say it, but most people really don't even count. Most, normal, casual, everyday people don't really count them rings that KD got, to be honest, because they feel like they was cheating.
I mean, it was, but I can tell you one thing, bro. Them two back-to-back championships, the Warriors don't win them two back-to-back championships if KD doesn't
Facts.
play on that team. And that's just me being straight up. They was not going
Yeah.
to stop LeBron. And the Cavs 2 years in a row, no. You take, because KD was the best performer on that team throughout the whole playoffs, both times. You see what happened. I mean, I believe Clay got hurt, but you see what happened as well. When Kevin Durant went down against the Raptors, like, you can tell a team led by just Steph Curry and Draymond Green is not getting it done, obviously, as you can see.
Pools, I
So,
mean, I don't think Pools on that team yet, but I said in the previous video, I think Kevin Durant is overrated. Y'all haven't asked me for it, but I might just put out a video about why I think that way. I think me and the homie Byron got into a big debate about that. Me and Byron also have a bet we made on Facebook today. I said the Lakers will make it farther than the Mavericks. So we're going to see how that plays out and want y'all to hold him to that. Because I said it publicly. I made the bet public. It's already public, but I want to make it more public. That I had the Lakers making it farther than the Mavericks. But speaking of continuing on with the trade deadline, another big trade was the Fox going to team up with the Alien. How you feel about De'Aaron Fox engagement with the San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama?
well, I believe he had a double-double first game out. But I feel like it's a good pickup for the Spurs. Now you have your point guard. You kind of didn't know what was going on at first. They might be able to make a little playoff push, honestly. But now you have your future because I think De'Aaron Fox isn't too old. He's in his prime right now, and then you have Wemby. Yeah, you have Wemby, who Wemby's Wemby. By the end of his career, he's probably going to be either one or two as greatest overseas player of all time, in my opinion, because he's already working towards being the face of the league. So, and I think it also leads to, a couple more solid veterans wanting to go play over there with them. So I can see San Antonio making a comeback for sure in the next couple
I
years.
think it was a great trade for San Antonio. They didn't have to give up much in that trade. I don't have the details right in front of me. But of course, Sacramento picked up, my guy in the league besides LeBron and Anthony Edwards. I mean, besides LeBron and Anthony Edwards, I rock with Zach LaVine. Been rocking with him since he was a Timberwolves fan. He goes back to Sacramento. It's going to be him, Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, DeMontis Sabonis. They end up picking up Valanciunas at the deadline as well. Keegan Murray is another player. I just worry because there's only one basketball over there in Sacramento, and I'm not sure if they pick the direction as a franchise. I think if you're going to trade De'Aaron Fox, it's ultimately the wrong decision to fire Mike Brown because he led y'all to much success over the past 2 years. And it seemed like you was firing Mike Brown to appease De'Aaron Fox. But then 2 weeks later, after y'all didn't take ownership, it seemed like, he didn't request a trade, but a lot of stuff was being put out there about a trade, and everybody knew where he wanted to go. And that was the only team we heard about. He ends up on that team. So as far as the San Antonio part of this, you didn't have to. I don't know if Chris Paul is going to come off the bench or not. I didn't catch their first game. I'm not sure if Chris Paul came off the bench or he's in the starting lineup still. He's in a skill challenge with Wemby. I think they were developing great chemistry. There's arguably not a better point guard you can have for a big man as far as mentorship than Chris Paul, who's been, if not the best point guard, I think he's been the best point guard the past 15 years in the NBA. Besides Curry.
And they like to
Yeah,
play fast, bro. They play like the
yeah,
Spurs love to play fast. I think with this pickup, they got the right mix up of mental coming from the old heads. You got the size, just and they're good shooting. They have good shooting. They have one of the best benches in the league scoring wise. So I feel like this is just adding to it. Like I said, I believe
yeah.
they can make a playoff push in the
And they can
second
build
half
for
of
the
the
future too
season.
because they kept Stephen Castle, their prize rookie. I think
Yeah,
he went fourth overall.
and I think they have because
Yeah,
they had two draft picks that were looking like lottery picks. So I
yeah.
think they kept one of
It's
those as
probably
well.
not going to be super duper high, but this is a loaded draft, so you can still get potential all star in the teams this year.
Well, yeah, it depends who if they gave their actual pick or the Hawks pick. Because what the Hawks did today, the Hawks might just be tanking. They might as well. Like I think Trey Young's out of there after
Okay,
this
well let's
season.
go to
If I'm
that
being
one.
honest
Why
with you.
you think Trey Young is out of there after this season? Why you feel like go ahead, yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
because you let go of or you traded all your best rotational pieces for what? For draft picks, like you said. Obviously, they're taking a page out of the Thunder's book. But how long do you want Trey Young to wait around while you get another team developed? I think they're in rebuild. This what Trey Young, Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels. Jalen Johnson's done for the season. Who does that leave? They
Yeah.
have Oneka. Like I said, I don't think it's enough to compete for playoffs. I don't think they make it into the playoffs. Which ultimately, like I said, I think if the Spurs have that pick, that's a lottery pick. And I just kind of think Trey Young's just kind of frustrated with the franchise. I mean, it's been brewing for years.
I like some of the role players that Atlanta picked up though, like Terrence Mann, of course, Florida State guy. I'm a big fan of Terrence Mann. I think he's the perfect glue guy role player. Can handle the ball, shoot, play good defense. Of course, you mentioned the DeAndre Hunter trade. DeAndre Hunter is probably having the best season of his career, honestly, from a 3 and D perspective. I think that was a huge pickup for the Cavs. Besides Luca going to the Lakers, that was my favorite pickup for a team in this deadline period. I think that was the glaring hole that they had in their starting lineup. They got to keep Isaac Okoro, former number 5 overall pick, who's been having a good season from three. He was already a very, very good defender. That's what he was known for coming in the league. But him coming in off the bench now, of course, you trading Struce back to he going somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Karis LeVert. I think he going back to the Hawks and a bunch of second round picks. I like Karis LeVert as a 6 man too. That's why I'm not sure that they're in rebuilding mode. I think Atlanta, man, they got a lot of rotational level pieces out there with Trey Young who could shoot, who could pass, who are multifaceted role players. Of course, you don't have that one-on-one takeover guy besides Trey Young. But I think they're going to prioritize moving the ball, passing the ball, and shooting. And I think that works out for what they have. I don't think it's Cooper Flag time yet, is what I'm trying to say. But I love this trade for Cleveland, first in the East. And it clearly shows that you're going for it. Like, Cleveland Cavaliers feel like they got all the pieces. This is them saying, we feel like we have a chance to win the first championship since LeBron James walked these hallways. Um, and of course, it was little whispers out there that when AD got traded, it would have fit in perfectly for LeBron to slide into that small forward spot. But now I think that takes it off the table. It would have been dope to see LeBron go on his what's it called, a farewell tour next year in Cleveland and stuff like that. That would have been super duper dope. That would have been a storybook type ending. But alas, business is business. Let me ask you this. What was a confusing trade that you've seen? There's a few more trades we haven't mentioned, but of course you could chop it up about one we already mentioned. What was a confusing trade that you saw at this deadline?
I'm not gonna lie, probably Kyle Kuzma, Chris Middleton trade. Like, I just don't get it, bro. I feel like, I mean, it could just be me, but I feel like Chris Middleton's obviously the better player when it comes from both ends of the ball. He plays defense, he can play make, he can score, he's consistent. Kyle Kuzma is nowhere near consistent. So it kind of just threw me off because it's like Chris Middleton is a
Yeah.
championship piece. Kyle Kuzma was getting outplayed by Jordan Poole.
some other
Who
sorry
else?
niggas.
Bilal Koulibaly,
Yeah,
Keyshawn George.
Alex Sarr.
It's just
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this,
Alex
because
Sarr.
I'm gonna name my most confusing trade. But you mentioned the Chris Middleton thing. I think Chris Middleton is gonna get bought out. He deserves to get bought out. Please don't have that man in Washington like that. And they also picked up Marcus Smart as well, which was
I was gonna buy
insane.
him out too.
As far as, well, maybe I can turn that into a bigger question, but we'll stick strictly here. Chris Middleton, if and when he gets bought out, who do you think he'll be a good piece for?
Well, I know he's gonna go to a contender. He's been coming off the bench. Probably see him still taking that role of coming off the bench, kind of being a six man. Let's see. I'm drawing a blank on who's even in the standings right now. I could probably see him joining a team like
Think about
I,
it.
I'm not gonna say Timberwolves. No,
Hey, that'd be awesome. I wasn't even thinking of that. But I was gonna say the Warriors. I think he'll be a nice piece for the Warriors. Maybe lead that second unit. He shoots, got good championship leader skills, fit right in with that championship core. Versatile defender, not what he once used to be, but he won't have to carry as much of a workload as he used to as well. I think he'll fit in nice with that core. Seems like a easy going type of guy, laid back type of guy, which is a lot of those guys besides Big Face Coffee and Draymond Green. And I think he'll be very coachable with Steve Kerr and things of that nature. I don't think it'll take him a long time to pick up that playbook and go forward from there. Steve Kerr and Coach Bud, who was the former coach, they still run a lot of those systems and actions, though I think he'll fit in with that spacing and concepts like that. But I think the Warriors be a nice pickup or a nice fit for Chris Middleton.
nah, yeah, that would be a nice little fit.
I like the Timberwolves too. You mentioned the Timberwolves. I like the Timberwolves too, man. We could use somebody to help us offensively. Offensively, we is ass, man. We still got Julius Randle on the team. He put up numbers, but it's like, bruh, it's been tough. Like, it's just hard to watch. Anthony Edwards been getting doubled out the ass. He's obviously not feeling the best about that. But I mean, when you're one of the best players in the league, bro, you're unstoppable. That's gonna happen. I think we need somebody to come in to relieve at least some of that playmaking off of him. I get the scoring aspect, but he has to shoulder being the primary scorer and the primary playmaker. So I want to see a little bit more creativity in our offense, a little more skill. I think Nas Reed is coming on. I wish we would have gave Nas the chance to start this year if we still had Cat, and especially now that we got Julius. I think Julius will be a perfect six man because he wants the ball, he wants to score, he's not looking to pass the ball. You can get that in a high usage six man role. I think Julius has 6 man of the year potential in all honesty, but alas, you paying him all that money, you kind of forced to put him in a starting position. My most confusing trade though was Brandon Ingram going to the Raptors. I don't understand why the Raptors would be buyers. The Raptors, I believe, are 16-35. You're not gonna make the playoffs this year. I don't know if I don't think he's been healthy. I think he's been out since like early December. So maybe it's definitely a play for next year and going forward. But you got Bi, you got Scotty Barnes, you got Emmanuel Quickly, R.J. Barrett, Jacob Portal. If they keep him, maybe they can get a big man with a high draft pick and go forward from there. So it's a play for next year, and Bi I think is still for
I'll be
sure.
right back.
Bi I think is 28, 20. He's anywhere from 27 through 28 years old. I think he's a strong pickup for them next year and going forward in the future, but it's confusing now of why they would be buyers. You would think they would not get rid of, but try to get some value for the veteran Pirtle. Quickly has been paying good, but maybe dangle him on the trade market, see what's out there. Again, this is a loaded draft class. So if you can potentially get a cornerstone type player, that's going to help elevate your franchise farther than what y'all is now. Because now it's starting to look like the Toronto Bulls. You just saw the Chicago Bulls obviously trade Zach LaVine, but they also didn't get rid of Vucevic when he's having the best season he's been having ever since he was on the Orlando Magic. I think he over 20 and 10, efficient from three, a defensive liability, but he's a valuable centerpiece. He's a valuable center that you could have traded in a center in a big man needy market. I think it showed that with what the Lakers had to give up for Mark Williams, which I'll talk about in a bit. But the Bulls also gave I apologize, Lonzo Ball a 2-year, $20 million extension. You could have seen what you got for him on the open market. He's a valuable role player, and that's a good price for Lonzo if he can stay healthy. Again, is we trying to sell or is we trying to buy? So at the end of the day, I would have liked to see them rebuild. At the end of the day as well, BI was the most confusing trade for me. Now, as far as the trade for Mark Williams by the Lakers, they paid a pretty steep price, man. They ended up giving up Don Connect, who was playing great as a rookie this year, probably in line in the top 5, top 10, probably rookie of the year races. Proven to be an elite shooter, athletic, can finish at the rim, can hit his free throws. His athleticism doesn't transfer to the defensive end, but again, he's a rookie. Maybe that could have translated with more time in their defensive system. So they got Connect, the 2031 first round pick. I think it was one more piece that's not coming to the front of my head, but they traded all of that, essentially 2 first round picks for Mark Williams. Mark Williams is younger than Dalton Connect by 9 months, even though he's a rookie. Mark Williams has the largest standing reach in the NBA. I believe it's 9 feet 9 inches. Yes, that's longer than Wemby's reach. Isn't awesome on the defensive end, but has nice shot blocking numbers due to his athleticism. And I think I'm gonna cut him a little bit slack because look what locker room he was coming from. Them boys was in there drinking lean, fucking hoes, rapping, doing everything in that locker room. So I can't really blame him for what we've seen him so far. I think he's gonna get great tutelage from LeBron James, Luka Doncic, other leaders on that team about how to. I'm not saying he's being unprofessional, but how to be more of a professional, a more championship level culture. And I think he's going to end up growing aside Luka Doncic with him being 23, Luka being 25. He has a lob threat. And I think it's going to help the Lakers coverage. Plus, I don't think he's going to play the whole game. I think the Lakers are going to play small a lot of the time. So you will see 5 out for the Lakers, whether that's LeBron, Luka, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and Dorian Finney-Smith. I think will be on the court a lot of the time. I think J.J. Redick wants to play that way, where you can spread the ball, cut and pass, and things of that nature. Now that we got my boy back, your audio good? For sure.
Now it is.
I've been yapping away, but I wanted to ask you, did you get a chance to see, because this was something that me and Byron was talking about earlier too. Do you feel like the Lakers was that a good trade for the Lakers trading Mark Williams for Dalton Connect, a first round pick, and a few other pieces?
I think they might have given a little bit too much with this trade. Just because, like you said, with Mark Williams, I don't feel like he's going to be playing as much as he was playing with the Hornets. As the Lakers, like you said, they have the pieces now to play a 5-and-out set. LeBron's shown that he can play big man. He can play the center position if he wants to. They're kind of taking a page out of the Warriors book when Draymond was out there running center. Obviously, this is a way better version. Just because you have 3 guys, you're gonna have 3 guys on the court that can shoot or kind of facilitate and get their own basket. So it's kind of, where does Mark Williams kind of fit in? I know they needed the big man, but I feel like if you were gonna go after a big man, I feel like the better big man probably would have been Jonas Valanciunas, as he's more of like an enforcer, bruiser, and he can score. I honestly like Jonas Valanciunas better than Mark Williams. I know Mark Williams is young; he's having a career year, but I feel like when it comes to positions right now, the Lakers probably should have been looking for something that's a little bit more established.
I feel that. I love the fact that they also reached out to Detroit about Jalen Duran. That would have been an awesome pick. That would have been a top 3 center for them. Obviously, what they ended up trading for Mark Williams obviously wasn't enough to get Jalen Duran. I think it just shows the value of big man in the league. I mean, the players who are at the top of the NBA, I would argue out of the 5, 3 of them play at the center position. Jokic, Embiid, and in my opinion, Victor Wembanyama.
Well, you got Giannis there too.
Yeah,
well, 4 big men.
Definitely. I was strictly naming centers, but as far as big men, the list,
the
list longer than that. You know what I mean? And it's showing The Lakers, they damn near paid more for Mark Williams than they did for Luka Doncic, to be honest with you, as far as
That's what I was
compensation.
gonna
So
say.
it just shows you the value of capable big men. Of course, the 90s before that, the game was all about the big men. Now, as small ball began to percolate in the league, it was about the wings. And wings are still important, but the big men are starting to become the dominant forces in the league again, as they should be. They're the biggest dudes on the court. Obviously, the best player in the world, I think at this point, is not even arguable, is Jokic. And, he's been dominant for a long time now, since rookie year. So I think that goes to show you that with Cooper Flag being at the front of this draft, Wembanyama in a recent draft, Alex Sarr, I think just went number 2 overall. It just shows you that every team is trying to draft that capable big man who's switchable, can protect the rim, rebound, and it's an added bonus if you can shoot at a high level. That type of player, they're going to be the best players in this new NBA that we got currently right now. So at the end of the day, that was a lot of trade deadline chatter, a lot of Super Bowl chatter. Y'all comment on the video, like it. Tell us about how y'all felt about the trade deadline. I give my man a chance if you want to add anything here before we get up out of here.
No, that'd
For
be
sure,
it.
man. Well, I'll release clips of this. Y'all go check it out. Like I said, get in the comments. Let us know how y'all feel. It's been a strong episode and a crazy trade deadline. In my opinion, the craziest one of all times. I know that I saw a meme with that boy Shams bent over like Jimmy Butler was in the NBA Finals. But shout out to Shams, and glad you ain't get hacked and you get a little bit of rest. We got the All-Star game coming up. Y'all go watch our last video about our All-Star selections. I know they just dropped. Y'all go watch our videos. Tell us how y'all feel about the teams and things of that nature. Get involved with all our content, 30 to 12 innings on all platforms. And yeah, we up out of here.